investment, and our weather is tough on your roof. If your roof needs repair or replacement, I recommend Buck Roofing. Ron Buck and his team have been repairing and replacing roofs in Kansas City for over 15 years, and they're in Lawrence too. For expert roof repair, replacement, commercial and residential, and they'll do your gutters too. There's only one company I trust, the one with so many 5-star reviews, and that's Buck Roofing. Online at ourbuckroofing.com. Sleep well knowing Buck fixed the roof over your head.
Football is back, Kansas City, and now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs because I can earn a fuel discount equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend the day after any game at Hy-Vee. The day after the Raiders game last year, Fuel Saver customers saved 48 cents a gallon with their $48 purchase because the Chiefs dropped 48 points on the Raiders. Win or lose, home or away, the more we score, the more I save. I just swipe my Fuel Saver card, use the lookup code, and save big the day after any Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a Fuel Saver discount equal to the Chiefs score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee. Must use lookup code 92910. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Stand up and cheer.
He's at the goal line. He is in. Touchdown Jayhawks.
Hail to Old KU.
And Kansas will win. Holy cow.
Wear your crimson and blue and join us each week for Kansas Jayhawk football. Join us this Saturday as the Jayhawks return to David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium to host Duke. Pregame begins at 9:30 on your home for Kansas Jayhawk football.
You're listening to the home of the Jayhawks, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Sports talk powered by fans. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. The power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. Kirk Elliott not in this morning with us. He is up in Mount Ayr, Iowa, where Kirk Elliott went to a high school game last night, Mount Ayr. The Mount Ayr Raiders last night played. And Kirk went and watched that game last night, so he's up there. And he's going to the Iowa State-Baylor game today. So Kirk Elliott taking a couple days off to enjoy what he loves more than anything.
That's right.
The Cyclones.
On his way as we speak. Can't even listen to the show. That's how focused he's in on all the way to Mount Ayr.
As you know, Todd, we have been with Kirk now. You've been with us 11 years.
That's right.
And Kirk Elliott is obsessed with the Cyclones.
This time of the year.
You barely can get any work out of him.
It's fun.
But because he gets so focused and so locked in on everything that's going on with Iowa State Cyclones, he can barely function.
Could you imagine if that team was like one of the dominant teams in all of we would never get anything.
Not one bit of work out of Kirk Elliott would we get.
So good for Kirk being able to get up there with the family and do family things and watch that game this morning. Hopefully he'll have a fun day out there today.
Well, hopefully they'll beat Baylor.
That's right.
Which is going to be a tough assignment.
Let me tell you something. This old college football, I don't pay much attention, but I do know Kansas has won 3 straight, undefeated.
Isn't that crazy?
And not just like fluky stuff, just
right.
Beating guys in the dirt.
Right.
It's just been a weird kind of strange season. We got the Chiefs tomorrow at noon. And
well, as you know, Todd, I really only follow the Chiefs.
Yeah. I follow.
I'm looking forward to the game this week, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to going 3-0?
I'm looking forward to this week's game for sure. Last week's game was the one that on the schedule worried me.
That scared you a little bit.
Thursday night games are not fun.
Right.
Going against a division opponent, it's really tough. And so, no,
Hey, but was that a thrilling victory?
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I mean, absolutely thrilling victory. Now, listen, the Chiefs didn't play their best game.
That's right. But we still won.
But great teams.
Find a way to
Great teams learn how to win. It doesn't matter if they're down, if they played a bad game or not. It's like Tom Brady over all those years when he was with the Patriots. He never failed to learn how to win those games at the end, even when it wasn't a good game.
Yep.
Right?
We had, and you know as well as I do, teams like ours, they don't, in the past 4 years, we just don't give up. Like, you don't, even when you're down, you don't give up. Like, I've turned games off in the past and walked away because I've been upset knowing I'd come back and turn it on in a couple seconds, and we're back ahead again, or we got the ball again.
Let me tell you what chaps me a little bit, Todd, just so you know.
Uh-huh.
You know what really chaps my ass?
What's that?
I'll tell you what chaps it. It's when people underestimate Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they still keep putting him in that.
They've got him down there about like the 8th best player in the league.
6 and 8.
Yeah, it just I don't get it. You know, I just don't understand why
haters
people
are
don't.
gonna hate.
That's it. That's really what it boils down to.
I told somebody the other day, it's amazing to be on this end of it because Kansas City for so long when I was a young man,
losers,
was just not, and all the way through my adolescence, through high school and middle age, and they were just bad. And this is just a great time to be a Kansas City fan.
If you lived through the 80s,
70s, 80s, and 90s was tough.
Hold on, the 90s were also bad because we had Schottenheimer.
Yeah, and we sniffed it. We had Marty, we had Joe
teased us all
Joe
the time.
Montana
right.
and Neil Smith, and so
just a teaser.
So yeah, hopefully everybody out there will be able to watch their football games and get their racing in all at the same time. We got very good racing last night, and again today.
Man,
looking forward to all the racing.
A lot of good stuff going on. Let's bring in Austin O'Neill, who is the weekly producer here on Mostly Motorsports. If you haven't heard about Mostly Motorsports, it's a show that we do Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central Time. You can watch it on our Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, or racingboys.com. We got 4 different platforms you can watch it. And you can always download it wherever you find your favorite podcast. It's a weekly show that we do every week. Austin, how you doing today? All right?
I'll be honest with you.
What's wrong with you?
I did not appreciate. I don't say I didn't appreciate it. I shouldn't say that.
What?
I did not enjoy waking up at 6 o'clock this morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Why? Did you stay up late last night?
I mean, I watched the Outlaw races and what USAC had going on at Eldora, and that wasn't. They didn't run too late, but
no, that race was over pretty early.
It was, but man, I spent all week. Luxury of doing a midday show. I don't have to be up at 6 o'clock every day, so I was up about 8:30 every day, and 6:30 6 o'clock came pretty fast this morning.
Just so you know, Kirk and I have been doing it with Todd. Kirk and I have been doing it for 22 years, every Saturday morning for the last 22 years. Just think about that, 22 years. This is your first year.
Yeah, it'd be my first year.
This is your first year.
Yeah, I think next week might be the 1 year mark of me being here. I think that's next week.
I think January 10th is going to be your 1 year mark, isn't it?
Well, that's of Mostly Motorsports, but being here
every day,
every week,
6 days a week, you're here.
Yeah, well, we started doing just Saturday stuff in October.
Yeah.
But
well, anyway, what'd you think about that race last night at Eldora? Rico, he ends up on top, but man, it was close there a couple times. You got to think about the one time when Sheldon was sitting sideways at the bottom of the track over there in turn 4. Rico comes diving in there. He's racing a lap car, trying to get around the lap car, and all of a sudden, there's Sheldon Hodenshield sitting right in front of him. How close was that, Austin? That was so close, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how he was able to miss Sheldon. I mean, Sheldon was sitting in an awful spot, and for Rico to be focused on racing Landon Myers and
the lapper,
and
right.
just I don't know how he. I mean,
first of all, how did he not hit the car he was lapping, and then how did he not hit?
He
Sheldon?
got lucky that the guy he was racing also was paying attention. I mean, but when you're racing a lap car, I mean, you're looking ahead of you, but you're worried about trying to get by and hit your mark. And, if it was just, I don't really any words to describe it. That was not a good spot to be in for Sheldon and Rico. I think if Sheldon maybe spun a tenth or two of a second later, Rico wouldn't have been able to miss it, and you would have seen Rico, lose a lead in that way.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty close, and Rico said as much at the end of the race there. But man, did you think J Mac was going to get him there at the end? To me personally, I think the 83 car was the fastest car on the track at the end of the race. Would you agree with me on that?
Last 5 laps or so, it was. It's just. I talked about yesterday being, we talked about Gas City yesterday and being one of those unique tracks that you can kind of run both lanes, but if you can run the top really good, it's going to pay off a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that happen at Eldora the next night, and Eldora's always kind of been known for being somewhat top dominant. Enrico kind of mentioned it in his interview that he never expected himself to win a race on the bottom, but it was finally good to see Eldora overcome the issues that they had with the surface issue. They brought in new dirt. Remember,
there was still a couple rough spots in it.
Yeah, but it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad.
But I think it was before maybe the Eldora Million. They had to do a full they dug up the track, a foot, 2 foot or so, something like that, and really turned the track over and got it good to come and race on for the rest of the season, for rest of their big crown jewel races. And I finally feel like they, besides like the Kings Roll, which had a really good track, but that we had a good surface to race on last night. And if you could make it work on the top and not get stuck in the fence, but be buried in the cushion hard enough, it was going to pay off. And we saw that with McFadden drive, from the back of the top 10 or in that area to second and almost run down Rico in the last 5 laps. And it was finally good to see, some 2-lane racing and Eldora put on, a good show again.
Spencer Baston, he led that race early. He faded, and he ended up running 7th last night. Were you a little surprised how he faded so fast?
Yeah, I guess a little bit.
Yeah,
but
me too.
You look at, I'm watching the highlights over here out of the corner of my eye again, and he got out, to clean air. And he was fine in clean air when he had Rico behind him. And, they had, 1 or 2 yellows, pretty close to get to each other.
But once Rico got in the lead, it was over at that point.
And it allowed Rico to, on the first restart, Rico wasn't able to get a big enough run to slide him. And Rico changed his lineup into 1 on the second restart and was able to get momentum and slide him into 3. And I think, once he broke Baston's momentum, and it kind of got based in, I guess, on offense and forced him to kind of start moving around. It allowed guys, and he at that point he was searching, because now the guy drove around you. Now he's in your line. Now you're searching. So it forced him to search and allowed guys behind him that already knew where to be drive back by him. And by the time he probably found where to be, it was too late. And that's why we're talking to him, having to run, that backed up like that.
There was a good little battle there for second place at one point before James McFadden got up in the middle of it. But Donnie Schatz, Brad Sweet, Carson Macedo, and James McFadden were all racing right there in a pack. That was pretty good racing at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, Donnie kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
I watched Hot Laps, and I was kind of bouncing around between, Flow Racing and some of their events and the Outlaw, the Dirt Vision program. And, Hot Laps, I was really thinking that it was going to be kind of a heavy night. And because you look at the Hot Lap track, and it was slimy and it was wet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, this is a night that Donnie's going to get the Ford to run at max power and let that thing just eat. And it wasn't.
It slicked off.
It slicked off really fast, which really kind of surprised me because, you look at everybody down there, they're all in hoodies and coats, and so it was cold. And for the track to have that much moisture in it and blow off is really interesting. I don't know if it's just the type of dirt that they have, or maybe it just looks really wet when it has a little bit of water on it. Hard to say, never really been to Eldora before. But, and for him to even kind of drive up to the field when it was that slick with the Fords just shows how much they've been able to fine tune that program and get it to perform on any track and any surface that they go throughout the country.
You know, the one person I was a little disappointed in last night, he started 8th, he ended up running 11th, was David Gravel. Kind of went backwards a little bit last night. You don't see that very often with David Gravel. He typically runs up towards the front at Eldora, and I was a little disappointed in his performance last night. How about you?
I mean, I think he typically runs up front about anywhere he goes.
Right.
You're not second in the outlaw standings, or second or third. Him and Carson are really close. I'll be interested to see what happened after last night, and not run up front every night or close to the front. But Chase Rodman mentioned before the feature that if Gravel wants to have a shot at winning this deal by the World Finals at the first or second week in November, he needs to beat him by almost 7 spots a night. And last night that was just the opposite. Sweet beat you by 7. So for Gravel to have a shot at this championship, it's going to be really tough unless you're going to catch some just incredibly insane bad luck out of Brad Sweet.
Brad's figured out how to be consistent and how to win championships.
Brad didn't have maybe the fastest car, but he had a car capable of a 4th place finish. And the guy you're racing is driving himself in the back. I mean, that's all you need. Just don't do nothing stupid. Just when you have the best tool for a driver is when you're sitting under yellow and they're reading you the lineup. You're looking for 2 guys' number, the 2 car and the 41 car.
Right.
And you know where they started. And if they're back and you hear that, you don't hear their number for a while, you know you're doing something right. So at that point, you just know not to do anything to get yourself in a position that's going to cost you some points. And that's the reason why he's going to be, a 4-time champion now?
Right, no doubt. Sheldon Haudenschild, now, granted, he had a rough night last night for sure because he spun out once. That's when he almost got collected by Rico. But he got upside down, and they had to change the front axle on that car. I don't know if there's a team out there that does it better because they've had a lot of practice with Sheldon's car, right? They've put a lot of front ends underneath that race car, and they can do it within about 2 or 3 minutes. It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
It really is. And, for any team to come out there and make any change on the work area is really impressive.
Complete front axle.
But, yeah, I mean, that's – and it kind of goes to a part of it being so easy goes to the manufacturers for taking their product and engineering it and developing it to make it easy for us to do this stuff in the work area. And I can kind of most of these guys run Stevie Smith titanium and all their stuff is the same socket size. So I know like on some cars they have bigger bolt heads than the other, and for them to kind of come in and unify these parts and make them all the same and really easy to change is what really allows us to do that. And then you have plenty of practice when Sheldon is your driver. You're going to get really good at it, right?
Right. He's knocked out a bunch of them.
Yeah. And last night he's never had any speed at Eldora. Maybe in the past when he drove the 93 car, but recently, like this year, he didn't do good at the Kings Royal at all in the historical big one. He doesn't do good at the night before the 4 Crown. That was to see him, get in the wall. We didn't get to see what happened on the first incident. Didn't see what happened on the second incident either. But that was kind of an embarrassing night for Sheldon, if I was him.
Yeah, no doubt. He ended up running 17th. He started 15th, and that's about where he ended up last night. How about your boy Ayrton Genitin? He was scheduled to start. I don't remember what heat it was. He was going to start at the back, but it turns out he blew up his motor last night. Right?
He never made it to qualifying. It blew up in hot laps.
A brand new motor.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit last night. I didn't ask him.
Details.
Anything. I knew better not to. I didn't know what reaction I get. I mean, they're all pretty frustrated to drive out there to Eldora. I mean, it's a 10-hour, almost a 10-hour pull to make 2 laps on hot laps and blow up. That's just, really frustrating. And I think that team had a car capable of a top 10, maybe top 5
Right.
on the long end.
He gets around there pretty good.
Yeah, shot. I mean, you know, he ran 8th at the Outlaw race here last year, ran 5th with the All-Stars, maybe 3rd with the All-Stars the next night, third or 5th. And, you know, they came back and made the show at the Kings Royal, had speed that week, and we're going to come back this year with high hopes. And, you know, it's just part of racing. I mean, it hurts, you know, only make 2 laps, but, you know, they don't have a lot of work to do today. Just change motors and wipe the car down.
Yeah, well, and really good news this week is that his grandfather, Gene Genitin, was inducted into the Midget Hall of Fame. That's pretty big news for the Ayrton Genitin family, isn't it?
It is, and
I mean, that's big news, really.
It is, and I think Gene's in a couple Hall of Fames. I need to ask Ayrton all the ones that he's in. I know he's in a couple at least, and to finally, you know, get this one with it being the National Midget Hall of Fame has to be really special, and you know, people, you know, still remember his name and still, you know, want to honor him for what he did for midget racing
and he was a
and
great
his career.
Racer.
Yeah.
Great racer, yeah, no doubt. And how close did he come to winning the first Chili Bowl, Austin?
Well, if he doesn't get caught up by lap traffic, he wins it. So I mean, he was, you know, really close, and it you know, what would that story have been? You know, Gene Genitin wins the first Chili Bowl, and Rich Vogler runs second. I mean,
wouldn't that
how
be
big
something?
of a story would that have been?
That would have been big, yeah. Unfortunately, Rich Vogler, no longer with us, was killed in a midget wreck, and that was one of the great losses of all time when we lost him. So anyway, we got a lot of sound lined up for the show today. We are going to play an interview that Kirk Elliott did with Jonathan Davenport up at the Knoxville Nationals. He picks up that win up there. Also, we've got some sound that we recorded this week on Mostly Motorsports with Trenton Berry, Steve Post, and Wayne Johnson, who won the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial. That's all coming up next right here on Track Talk on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more sound and more highlights from this weekend's action around the country right here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works.
Track Talk.
Hi there, Gary Giles with Giles & Jewelry. Everybody knows Giles & Jewelry is the place to buy an engagement ring. Thousands of diamond rings, quality second to nobody. Come on into Giles, 95th and Antioch, right in front of the big Hy-Vee. Giles & Jewelry, we're the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Giles & Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
Even if you're not a football fan, you're going to love Halftime. Halftime at Window Nation. Right now, score new windows for your home at half the price. Get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy with no payments until 2025. That's 2 windows free for every 2 you buy with no limit. Plus, no down payment, no payments, and no interest until 2025. At that rate, you can take it to the house, the whole house, and only pay for half. Window Nation's professional team has drawn up this winning game plan to save you money now and for many seasons ahead. Their beautiful, energy-efficient windows are expertly fit to your home by installers averaging 15 years experience. They've tackled over 250,000 projects and saved homeowners millions of dollars on energy bills alone. Make the call today and get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy and pay nothing until 2025. Don't pass on this opportunity. Call 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION. Or visit windownation.com and tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
Design your door your way at Menards and get 11% off everything. Mastercraft makes great doors inside and out. Choose from the best in-stock selection, including pre-finished doors. Or design your door your way with our door designer and get free shipping to the store in approximately 7 days. Get 11% off all Mastercraft doors now at Menards. Good through September 25th. Savings are mail-in rebates. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Let's face it, it's kind of crazy right now. There's a lack of new and used cars, and dealers are offering all kinds of gimmicks. When you're shopping for a car, the only thing that matters is the difference. The difference between what you get for your trade and what you pay for your new vehicle. It's the bottom line. That's how you save. At Bob Allen Ford, we're experts in the difference. We're the dealership you've trusted for almost 40 years. As my father always says, all Fords are created equal. It's your dealer that makes the difference. Learn more at boballenford.com.
Visit the village of Lockloyd during the 2022 Fall Parade of Homes to view Willis Custom Homes' modern design entry. A floating staircase and a 2-story wall of white marble ledgestone embedded with backlit mirrors create a stunning first impression. The lower level offers a golf simulator, bourbon room, and fitness center. Outside features including multiple fire pits, waterfalls, and outdoor bar provide water and golf course views. Visitors can access the community through the North Gate at 151st and Kenneth Road. Daily hours 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. through October 9th.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. Last weekend, Wayne Johnson picked up his second Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial win. And before I get into that, I want to give a little shout-out to some of the people that won the championship last night at Lakeside Speedway. Nick Benninger capped off a championship season at Lakeside Speedway with the USRA Modifieds. Tim Powell picked up the USRA B-Mods. Doug Keller picked up the USRA Stock Cars. Bud Castor, he picked up the E-Mods. And Darren Schmidt in the Pure Stock. So those are your champions out at Lakeside Speedway this year. And, Lakeside Speedway, one of my favorite tracks of all time, as well as I-70 Speedway. So anyway, last weekend, Wayne Johnson picked up the win down there. It was his second Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan win. We had a chance to talk to Wayne on Monday on Mostly Motorsports. And this is the conversation I had with Wayne Johnson after his big win down at the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial. That has to be really thrilling to pick up your second Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial win.
Yeah, for sure. We've been struggling of late, so to get that win at that race is a big, big deal for me anyway. But just to get back on track, sure feels good, period.
Yeah. Wayne, talk about the two prelim nights. What was the difference between your car from Thursday, Friday to Saturday? Because you looked a lot better on Saturday.
Well, we were just, honestly, we were just off. I mean, a lot of, we crashed a car in Waukene here back in July, and then we've been kind of searching to get back our rhythm and get back, to back where we were. And we've just been off and hadn't been able to figure it out. And just finally, got going again. And I can't honestly put my finger on exactly what it was, but lots of changes and lots of, just working on it and trying to make it better.
Yeah. Talk about when you were running down Sam and you made that pass for the lead. Sam is not the easiest guy to outrun, is he?
No, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, just talk about that. Were you surprised that you ran him down that easily?
No, when before we ever went green, whenever they let us hot lap up, half a corner, half straightaway, or half a lap, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I knew I had a good race car right then. We just had been struggling and getting our balance right, and I knew right then that our car was really good. Did I know we were going to win the race? There's no way. But I just knew I had a good race car and that we were going to actually be able to go ahead. I felt like we were going to move ahead, and then we just ran the bottom there, waiting on the fuel load to burn off a little bit, and then there was a time that traffic was into play and was able to run the top. And then once I knew I could run the top or the bottom, I knew I was really good. So then we just got to pounding that bottom, and then when I needed to go to the top, I passed Blake off the 2 on the top and was pretty dominant getting by him because he's not an easy car to pass. So I knew when I cleared him pretty easy, I thought, man, our car's really good. And it just builds confidence when you're able to do those things. And then, running Sam down there, I would gain on him, and then I'd miss, and then I'd lose, and I just knew that, you know, the way the whole week had played out. If you were out on the top and spinning and dragging a left rear, you know, your tires gave up, and I felt like that was what was going to happen to him. So I just kept plugging away, and honestly, the bottom, you know, was really good there for me, and Scott, our tires are so good I could run them again this next weekend.
Oh, no kidding. Wayne, did you think that because of the previous 2 nights when it took a little bit of rubber, did you feel that there might be some rubber on Saturday night? Were you anticipating that or not?
I was actually. I was concerned at how we were all going to make 40 laps, and that was kind of going into my game plan a little bit, is to try to conserve the tires as much as possible early in the race, and not try to run the top, because the way the racetrack had played out all weekend, normally the top would start to lay a little rubber and actually seemed like it got a little bit quicker, but. Unfortunately, fortunately, they really worked that racetrack really good before that non-wing feature, and kept it dirty enough that I think it was starting to let a little rubber on the top, because after the race was over, I went up there, and it was probably pretty stuck up there too. So yeah. I just, fortunate enough, I don't think anybody was brave enough to go up there and check it out late in the race.
Yeah. There you have it. That's Wayne Johnson, the winner of last weekend's Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial at the Diamond of the Dirt Tracks, Lucas Oil Speedway, the nicest track in the country. Folks, if you haven't been down to Lucas Oil Speedway, you need to get down there. It is no doubt the nicest track in the country, period, bar none. Nothing comes close to it. It's in a little town of Wheatland, Missouri, population of about 300 people down there, and it is just a beautiful racetrack. You take 71 Highway down to 7, then go south on 7. 7 turns into 13, and then when you get down to Collins, you go left about 15 miles on 54, and you'll run right into it. It's about 15 miles down that 2-lane highway. It is a great racetrack. They've got drag boat racing there, off-road racing there, dirt track racing, monster trucks. They do it all at Lucas Oil Speedway. It is the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. It is one of the most beautiful racetracks in the country. So do yourself a favor. If you get a chance to go to the Lucas Oil Speedway, absolutely 100% do it. Let me ask you, Austin O'Neill, you think Blake Kahn might have had a chance to run down Wayne Johnson if that plug wire doesn't fall off? If he loses a cylinder, the boot pops off one of the spark plugs. He's down 7 cylinders. Does he have a chance to win if he has all 8 cylinders? Yes or no?
Yes. I mean, you go from making, I don't know how much it would kill.
Because he kept him close, even with 7 cylinders, right?
Yeah, I mean, now you add, you go from making, I don't know how much power you would lose when you pull, a plug wire off, but, these things, make a little over, 750, but, let's say you lose 100 horsepower or so. I mean, that's a big, that's a big loss, and I don't know if it's that much or not, but, it's
sizable amount.
It's still an amount that you lost. You're not making, peak power, and for him to still kind of be right there with Wayne, it just shows, how good his car was, and how good, the rest of his engine package is. And, if that doesn't happen, maybe you get a yellow or 2 or traffic some more on the bottom and you're forced to leave.
Right.
There's a good possibility Blake might have a shot at the end of that deal.
Well, and Scott Boguski made a nice little run there at the end of that race, didn't he? He was coming up there. He was trying to rip the lip up there and trying to get up to Blake and Wayne Johnson. I thought he might make a little bit of run at him. At the very least, at Blake Hahn at the end of that race. What do you think?
Maybe. Boguski was making all of his time up on restarts.
Yeah.
He is probably one of the most aggressive guys to race with, and especially on restarts, he's not afraid to put his car where it probably shouldn't be.
Right.
And sometimes it's bit him, and sometimes it really benefits him. And this was one of the nights that he could do nothing wrong with that thing, and he could kind of put it wherever he wanted it, and it was making it go forward. And he kind of ran a line that not a lot of guys ran, in that race, and it was kind of through the middle. A lot of the non-wing cars, they were on the bottom for a while, and it slicked the bottom up, and the middle kind of was really untouched, and the rest of the non-wing cars, ventured to the top at the end of their feature, and the wing cars, split. And on the restarts, you could come right through the middle and have a cleared track and have more momentum than the guy on the bottom or the guy on top, and then slide the guy or chop him into three, and Magusky was really good at that. And maybe if he starts a little closer to the front, he doesn't work as hard, and maybe Magusky wins the race.
What puzzled me maybe as much as anything the entire night on Saturday night down there at Lucas Oil Speedway is Sam Haferteef was in the lead. Now, how often do you see Sam get into the lead and not win the race? It doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, it doesn't. But Lucas this year wasn't a typical Lucas Oil that we've been used to, and the track was
a little non-typical the first two nights.
Very.
Yeah.
The first night wasn't. The first night is usually the worst night out of the three. Actually, it usually takes rubber. But the second night and the third night are much better, and the track gets better as the weekend goes on, and it really did. It didn't get good until the feature on Saturday night. Friday took rubber, and they were having a lot of issues with tires, blistering, peeling apart, and just having excessive wear that we would normally not see down there. Like, I know last year we bought a new right rear on Friday morning, ran hot laps heat race qualifier, B main, A main on it. Saturday ran hot laps, LCQ, B main, and put a new one on it for the A main. So that thing had a lot of laps on it, and I ran it more this year.
How many tires did you burn up last year?
Maybe a set of rears on the first night, but like I said, I ran a tire 2 full days at the end of the week, and guys couldn't run, a heat race
much
or a feature.
Yeah.
So we had a weird issue going on. I think the track had a part in it. Hoosier probably has a part in it too with just their issue with tires this year and getting the materials to make the tire and not having maybe the correct ones, and our compounds are just weird and not what they used to be. And going back to Sam there, I kind of got away from it, but I think Sam, burned his stuff. I think maybe Sam might have mentioned it too, but Sam's stuff, he was running the top there for a little bit and just maybe burn his stuff up.
You run it a little bit too hard.
You blister your tires. You have a couple of restarts. You're not going to get them back. And, Wayne kept his stuff, in the moisture and somewhat still good. And he even mentioned it. He can run it, his set of tires, at a later date at a track, and they'll still be good, good tires to run on. Sam, I don't think that's going to be the case if we looked at his tires.
Yeah, no doubt. Dylan Westbrook led the first 3 or 4 laps, if you remember right, and then Sam took over. He ran. He led lap 5 through 24, and then Wayne picked up 25 through 40 and won the race. So, a little disappointment in Dylan Westbrook. By the way, he's running at Eldora this weekend. Did you see that?
I seen that, and on Saturday for the A, he, like you said, he led a couple laps and he fell back and
he runs 17th.
He put her upside down into one.
Yep.
I don't know. The right rear was blown out on it. Did it is that what caused the yellow or him to crash? Most likely. It never was said. He declined an interview by Scotty.
Yeah.
After he got out of the car, but let's say his tire went away faster than Sam's did, and it went away to the point to where either he maybe ran something over. I don't think that track. The Domin cars nobody really crashed, so there wouldn't be any debris on the track. That maybe would have cut that. So if that tire was hard enough and it it finally gave way on him and it causes him to crash. I mean you're not going to be happy camper if that's the case.
I don't remember anything happening to Mark Smith. Did he pull off the racetrack because he ran 18th? He started second. I was a little disappointed in his performance because I think Mark Smith is typically one of the guys you got to outrun it at the Hockett.
I think I saw him pull off during the red with Westbrook. But before that red came out, he was the next car to go a lap down. And I don't know much about the car he's driving.
I don't either.
I think he won a couple races with it down there in East Bay at the start of this. I think it might have been with URC. No, USCS is that. URC's in the north, USCS is in the south.
Right.
I think he won a couple races with them down there, and I think he's been in that car a handful of times this year, and normally he brings his own personal Mach 1 down and runs it, and I don't know what he did different. You figured he'd bring the same kind of package that he had 2 years ago when he dominated the first two prelim nights back with them, or I don't. Nobody said, and he didn't mention, what happened that was different. But it definitely did not look as good as he did, the first, actually in 2020 when he came down.
Well, when it comes to the points, Wayne Johnson now is 101 points out of the lead. Matt Covington is 173 points out of the lead. Blake Hahn is your current Lucas Oil ASES National Tour point leader. Do you think Wayne catches Blake?
Only way Wayne can catch Blake is if Blake makes mistakes.
Has some problems along the way.
Wayne can. Wayne can make, 50 points? Is it about 50 or so? If he wins and Blake finishes last, in the feature. You can make more up if you don't start the feature. I think if you make it, if you don't make it out of the B, you can.
If you broke before you went out there, at the start of the night, say you blew a motor in hot laps, and you're done for the night, and the guy that you're racing for the championship goes on and wins the race, leads all the laps, you can make up 100 points in one night.
Okay.
That's what Brian was saying.
I remember that now. Then I think if you run 24th and the other guy wins, it's 90 some odd points for 24th or so. So about 50-ish, 55, 60 range if you win and he runs 24th. So, that's going to take a lot for Blake to have, maybe a finish like that or have, Wayne win. But it's never over until the fat lady sings, and you have a couple races left.
Yeah, no doubt. So, all right, well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what was going on with the with what's going on up at the Fall Jamboree. We're going to talk about that with Trenton Berry a little bit, and we'll also have a little bit of an interview that we did with Jonathan Davenport after his big win up at Knoxville Raceway, picking up the Knoxville Late Model Nationals. That's all next right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Today's show, Track Talk, is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. We'll be right back.
Track Talk. Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
It's fall, and that means it's time to get the grill going. Check out these great specials at the Butcher Block at your neighborhood hen house. The only place you get USDA Choice certified Hereford beef. Beef top sirloin steak, only $4.99 a pound. Fresh 80% lean ground chuck, ground fresh several times each day, only $2.99 a pound. Boneless, skinless chicken breast, always fresh, never frozen, only $2.99 a pound. And Prairie Fresh pork loin baby back ribs, sold in Cryovac, just $2.99 a pound. See all these specials and more at henhouse.com. Hen House, your market and mine since 1923. One of the things I love about being back in the sports betting game is the player props and the game props. So many of them to choose from. And what's cool about FanDuel Sports is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. Whether you want to take the over on the rushing yards, whether you want to take the first half total, they are available to play however you want. Easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet, all at FanDuel Sports. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet. So So lock in your bet today at FanDuel Sports. Right now, new customers get up to $1,000 back in free bets if your first bet doesn't win with promo code PETRO. That's promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Football League.
21 plus and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Dust off your cooker and fire up the grill for summer. Missing a few items to get your cook started? Well, head over to the Kansas City Barbecue Store, 119th and Strangline in Olathe. You can stock up on all your grilling supplies, name brand cookers, pellets, probes, knives, sauces, rubs, and competition quality meats are always in stock at the Kansas City Barbecue Store. Don't be afraid to go big on the grill this summer. Go see Dan and the team at the Kansas City Barbecue Store today.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say, fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Heading to K-State, KU, or MU for a game? Let Revel XP set up your tailgate so you can just show up and enjoy your tailgate steps away from the stadium. No need to haul a bunch of stuff over to tailgate. Revel XP can handle all of that for you. They'll provide everything you need: tents, table, chairs, large coolers, drink and food packages, and even TV setup. Many packages to choose from. Just go to revelxp.com. You'll have a prime location for the game and let Revel XP take care of it all. For more info, go to revelxp.com. That's revelxp.com.
To commemorate the iconic home of the Kansas City Chiefs and their stadium, 2022 full-sized footballs complete with a beautiful aerial color photograph of a capacity crowd at Arrowhead on one of the panels of the football and all sorts of information about the stadium on other panels is being sold for $119 each. These limited edition footballs are fully licensed and approved, and each one comes with a numbered certificate of authenticity. A separate panel features action photos of both Patrick Mahomes and his favorite receiver Travis Kelce, along with the Chiefs' most recent Super Bowl logo from the 2019 season. Only 2,022 footballs will ever be produced. $5 of every football sold will be donated to MOCSA, Metropolitan Organization to Counter Sexual Assault. This football is exclusive to Nico Sports. Fans can order by calling 800-345-2868 or online at nicosports.com. That's 800-345-2868 or online at nicosports.com. Again, call 800-345-2868 or online at nicosports.com. To commemorate the iconic home of the Kansas City Chiefs and their stadium, 2022 full-sized footballs complete with a beautiful aerial color photograph of a capacity crowd at Arrowhead on one of the panels of the football and all sorts of information about the stadium on other panels is being sold for $119 each. These limited edition footballs are fully licensed and approved, and each one comes with a numbered certificate of authenticity. A separate panel features action photos of both Patrick Mahomes and his favorite receiver Travis Kelce, along with the Chiefs' most recent Super Bowl logo from the 2019 season. Only 2,022 footballs will ever be produced. $5 of every football sold will be donated to MOCSA, Metropolitan Organization to Counter Sexual Assault. This football is exclusive to Nico Sports. Fans can order by calling 800-345-2868 or online at nicosports.com. That's 800-345-2868 or online at nicosports.com. Again, call 800-345-2868 or online at nicosports.com.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect. Our pledge to draw down vehicle pricing for the city we love. Fall is quickly approaching. What a great time of year to be in Kansas City. Football is back, temperatures are cooling, and the Ram Power Days sales event kicks off. The manufacturer just announced aggressive new 2022 Ram 1500 incentives. To celebrate the new incentives, Victory at the Legends is bringing back the You Choose event.
56.
That's right. This month you get to choose from $6,500 off list price or $2,500 off list price price plus 0% for 72 months on
Got
select
about 8
in-stock
minutes.
Ram 1500 Bighorns. These trucks are packed with options, including crew cab and four-wheel drive. And don't forget, trades are still bringing top dollar. Even if you don't buy from us, we will still pay you cash on the spot for your trade. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. Kirk Elliott not in the house today. Producers Austin O'Neill, Todd Surprise helping me out here today in the studio. Can't thank those guys enough for what they do for us each and every week. A lot goes on, folks. I don't know if you've heard, but we do a show Monday through Friday. It's called Mostly Motorsports, and that's because we mostly talk about motorsports. We talk about some other stuff. A couple things we don't talk about is religion and politics.
Don't need that.
We stay away from that on our show, Mostly Motorsports. So if you'd like to listen to it, it starts 12 noon every Monday through Friday, and you can listen to it. We're on for an hour, and sometimes we go over a little bit, but it's a good show. We got a lot of great guests on each week, and you're hearing samples of those guests on with us here today. Last weekend, Jonathan Davenport picked up the Lucas Oil Late Model Nationals up at Knoxville Raceway, and our own Kirk Elliott had a moment with Jonathan Davenport after the race, and this is his conversation with Jonathan Davenport.
How much did the game plan change after you found out it was going to go from 75 to 50?
Not a whole lot. We didn't put the same tires on we was going to. And other than that, obviously our setup stayed the same. We didn't change anything there because we didn't really know how long the sun would stay out, how long the cloud cover would be. That changes the racetrack more than anything. So we just took a estimated guess, right there in the middle, and it worked out for us.
Getting past for second place, that was a real challenge for you. Just talk about that when you finally got into second place.
Yeah, I lost the lead early by my mistake. And then Bobby took off on a restart, and I think his motor was tightening up. So I lost second spot there and went back to third. And then it just took me a long time to figure out where I needed to be to get by Earl. And I almost had him slid one time, but I didn't think I quite had him clear, so I let him back around. And then it took me 4 or 5 laps to get back going again. And then I finally cleared him, and then it was just to see if I could run down the leader in time.
And you went to the top side to finally get around?
Yeah, that's finally where I had to go. I wasn't very good around the bottom. It was too tight there, and I just had to keep a lot of air on my nose to be able to turn. So we just started going to the top and burning the tires off of it and see what we came up with.
Man, this has been an incredible season. 2015 was big for you, but man, 9 $50,000 plus victories, including that $1 million win. Can you put into words the season you're having?
No, not really. I'm just living a dream right now, honestly. It's been awesome. My guys have given me an awesome car all year, and I'm just trying to represent my sponsor and my car owner and my guys as good as I can.
The key is putting yourself in great position to start up front in a lot of these races. Is it not the preliminary rounds you've done very well?
Of course, it don't matter what format we've had. We seem to excel in all of them for whatever reason, but that's just it's just a good balanced car, and I know what I got every time we roll out there. Even if we don't qualify good, we heat race pretty good, and then whenever the track gets slick, it's when we really come alive.
First big win at Knoxville. How big's that?
Man, it's huge. This place has eluded me for a long time. I just ain't never really felt comfortable here, but finally got the big one here. But it was only 50 laps during the daytime, so. There's a lot of stipulations to it, but if this is the only one I was going to win, I like this one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Boy, how much did
there you have it. That's Jonathan Davenport with Kirk Elliott after his big win up there at Knoxville Late Model Nationals. Tyler Bruning came in second. Brandon Shepard was third. Was there any doubt at any point during that race that Jonathan Davenport wasn't going to win? Because I thought Tyler Bruning looked pretty good out there in the lead. but he just couldn't hold off the great Superman, Jonathan Davenport, huh, Austin?
Yeah, I don't know what Davenport found, on the top there the last couple laps, but he came from over a straightaway back,
right?
To run down Tyler and then drive away from him. And Knoxville is like that. I'll never forget, I think it might have been 2014. Burkhofer and Bloomquist were going at it. Bloomer had about a straightaway lead on the last lap, and Burkhofer just buried himself in the cushion and 1 and 2 and got to about a half a straightaway or so, Tim down the backstretch, and then he drove by him off of 4 and stole the Knoxville Nationals from him, or the late model Knoxville Nationals. And we saw that happen kind of again, this past weekend. And you can never count out Davenport in those long races, even though they cut the race to almost in half. They were supposed to run 100 laps. We had 75 on the first initial schedule, and then we had 50 because of potential tire wear issues. So you never can count him out. I think if maybe his strategy might have been a little different if it was a little longer, but he still won and still can say he finally won at Knoxville.
Yeah, our 3-time winner of the Knoxville Nationals, late model Nationals, Mike Marlar, not the night that he was hoping for. He started 22nd. He ended up running 21st. I'm sure he was disappointed in his performance after being a 3-time winner of that event up there.
Yeah, of course you would have to be. Like you said, he's won this race 3 times, and he's always fast up there. And I think, they've had a really good year this year, and they came in there with probably some good confidence that they could probably pick up number 4.
2 minutes.
And have a shot at racing with Davenport. But, it's just kind of how Knoxville goes sometimes. And, racing on a Sunday afternoon isn't the best for guys starting, farther back in the pack.
What are your thoughts about him cutting the race from 100 laps, then to 75, and then they finally, on the day of the race, they cut it to 50? What do you think about that? How does that affect the strategy of a team?
It affects it a little bit. You go up there and you work on actually a lot of these races are long 100-lappers or 75-lappers, and not too many of them are 50, but it changes a little bit. Normally this race is long, so guys have notes for long races, but trying to eliminate the fuel break, I get that, to whatever. But on Sunday for tire wear, I wish they would have left it at 75. But I get, day racing isn't the best, but they could get rid of the tire rule too. That would probably help it.
Yep, no doubt. All right, well, just remember, folks, we are going to be on for another hour. You can follow us online on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our YouTube page, or you can watch us on RacingBoys.com. We'd really like it if you would share the live stream on Racing Boys. If you could do that, that would be great. Hour number 2, we're going to have live. Lee Spencer's going to join us. Plus, we're going to talk to Trenton Berry about the Fall Jamboree. And we're going to talk to Steve Post about all kinds of things in motorsports. So we hope that you'll join us hour number 2. It is all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products.
30.
They have been so good to us over the years, and we can't thank them for being involved with Racing Boys for the last 12 years. So thanks again. Drake, thanks so much for all your work back there, or Blake, I should say. I said Drake. Blake. Sorry about that, Blake.
You're all good.
All right, and then Austin O'Neill and Todd Surprise as well. Hour number 2, right around the corner. Watch us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com. I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. After a car wreck, the last thing you want to do is trust the insurance company. These insurance companies try to rip off good people every single day. My law firm won't let you get ripped off. We'll fight to get you all the money you deserve, and you don't pay us a dime unless we win your case. If you've been hurt, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know, 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
The wait is over, Kansas. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is here.
Creating problem-solving products to make your car care easier. We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works. There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and if you're not listening to the Racing Boys, then you've got some sort of head problems. You gotta listen to the Racing Boys. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. And I got some music rolling in the background. I didn't realize my music was up. A little bit of music turned up a little bit there. So, you know, that's what I do around here. During the day, I don't know if anybody knows this, but when I get my private time down here, I go over there and I play my drums to a big, loud speaker. Todd, you ever do that? Play to a big, loud speaker?
I do, and my new amplifier's got a built-in Bluetooth device.
Yeah.
And now
it just kicks on?
I can turn my phone on, play some backing tracks, and it'll play through one amp, and then I hook up my other and play my guitar through the other.
Can I turn off the drums on a song and play the song?
Yeah. So
how do I do that?
So there's some actually tracks out there.
Some software.
There's software, but there's actually now you can go to YouTube and I'll pull that up for you. You can go to YouTube, dial in backing tracks with no drums.
Yeah.
And all this music will come up. It'll be the whole band where they've just pulled the drum track out for you, and you can just
play any way I want to play it.
Whatever you want to play to it. It's the coolest thing. That's the reason why kids are really good now. The fact that
unbelievable
kids. They're opened up to this world at such a young age where they're able to absorb so much, and there's so much technology and sources. Just like Austin, you know, anything you want to find out nowadays, we were talking, anything you find out, you could just look it up now. Like when me and you were a kid, you had to ask somebody or go to the library and get a book or a manual, you know.
Right.
I mean, think about back in the day, you could still, and you still can to this day, go check out a manual to work on your car. You know, my uncle used to go and send me up there. He's like, hey, if we're going to do the struts on your car, go over, get the manual up at the library, bring home the thing, and you check that thing out.
Right, and do it exactly the way it tells you to do it.
Guess what? YouTube now, boom,
Same
boom,
thing.
bing.
Right.
Just amazing. So, yeah. Let me tell you, last night they were pretty good racing. I think the track was we had a lot of water in the track around this
Lakeside barely got it in, didn't they?
I think they were fine, but I bet you that they were, like Austin was saying,
I bet you that track was heavy.
Ooh, boy, because my yard never dried out all day. My driveway
it
stayed
didn't.
pretty wet because it was just cool, you know, like we were talking. It was really cool out, and the wind never once even picked up. The wind was just dead all day, so it was. I'm sure last night, there for a while they were waiting to make the announcement until I think 1 o'clock to whether they were even going to get the racing in last night. You know, they were deciding whether they were going to call it or not. But track looked good. I'm sure they got some racing in, and everybody had fun.
Have you met the new puppy? The new member of Racing Boys.
That's what somebody's asking on the line.
Walking around.
Track Talk been introduced to the Bristol. So
Bristol is in the house, and we named her the night of the Bristol Night Race. We thought that was appropriate. So
it's a pretty good dog.
A good little dog. It is a
Labradoodle.
A Labradoodle.
Yep.
People says, how come that dog's black then? Because it's the poodle was black.
The poodle was black. I tell you what, they're an inquisitive dog. That type of dog is.
Oh man, they're smart.
They are.
They're very smart.
They got them. They'll be digging into everything, trying to figure out how everything works.
Oh, I know it. I probably should have shut the top door up there at the top of the steps because who knows what it's going to get into up there.
Boy, I tell you, when you're not here during the week, I'm sure it's like babysitting duty for you. So.
Oh my gosh, it's like having a child. To be honest with you. So anyway, so we're going to get Lee Spencer on here with us in a moment, and we'll talk to her. Also, we've got some sound from Trenton Berry from the Fall Jamboree, Steve Post as well from Mostly Motorsports this week. If you don't know, Steve Post is on with us every Wednesday, folks. He's just about on with us every Wednesday. In fact, I think he's behind me right now, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He is. Winged Nation is on right now, so he does a good job with that show as well. Plus, he's the lead pit reporter for MRN. Does all the top spots in the Cup Series whenever the Cup Series is on the radio. So If you ever listen to an MRN broadcast, Steve Post is your lead NASCAR Cup pit reporter. So,
before we get Lee on,
yeah,
do you want to look at these pictures I have from last night?
Let's take a look at these pictures from last night. Tell us what we're looking at here, Austin.
So, if you watched the Outlaw races last night, or the Outlaw race at Eldora,
I was afraid he got hurt in that.
Yeah, that was so. Brock Searfoss. It was later in the race. Restart. Landon Myers ran over Brock's left front, and it knocked the left front down, broke the left front radius rod.
The 1M car.
Drag link damage. So pretty much locked the steering up. Really easy to do on these things. And I don't know if he somehow lost brakes. I mean, if you ran over the left front, very good chance that you're going to run over the left front brake line, which, normally it runs on the inside of like the frame rail that's like under the header in the oil tank, and then it turns left in front of the radiator. It comes out to the left front. So any left front contact, good chance you're going to knock it off. And I think that's probably what happened to him. And I mean, from the moment the car turned down the track, it never slowed down and just nailed the inside wall. And it was probably the hardest hit I've seen in a while.
Oh man,
Square, and he definitely he was hurt when he got out of the car. I mean, he was not walking around, and
it racked him.
It got him good and good enough.
It busted his nuts.
It busted a lot of things, and I mean, it crushed from the rack, the front torsion rack, to the radiator was just.
Is there any more pictures of that?
I might have one more, but I mean, for it to rip, I mean, here's the. If anything's in my mouse. That's the bolt for the top left motor mount hole for the motor plate.
It's
pulled completely out of the tube. That's a hit. Mm-hmm. Like we've seen cars bend motor plates. I've had my car bend a motor plate before in a wreck.
Nothing like that, though.
Maybe break the block, but for it to pull almost all four of the bolts out, that was a hit.
That's when you send your motor back and make sure the motor's okay. Right?
You're going to be sending a lot of things back to make sure it's okay.
That car was junk, though.
Oh, there's no.
Is there?
Might.
I mean, is there any way that you could find? Look at that car. Let me tell you something, folks. You can't believe how hard that car hit the wall.
I mean, it bowed the down tube. So, if it's going to have to go back to X1. If they wanted to put the money into it, I don't think the Outlaw guys will do
Throw
this.
Throw that one away.
Cut the car at the motor plate, clip it. If the back is still fine when they set it on the jig.
Cars never come back from wrecks like that.
Maybe not that one. Clip it and sell it to a 358 guy, 360 guy, or 305 guy for cheap, and just move on from that. I mean,
I wish we had that queued up, that wreck. Maybe you can find it real quick. Yeah, because it was one of the worst wrecks I've seen in a long time.
You mentioned cars never come back from a wreck like that. Maybe that one is probably an exception, but I remember a couple years ago, the last 360 Nationals Terry McCarl won at Knoxville, the front clip and the rear clip were from two different cars. So you can Frankenstein some stuff together and make it go fast, but
how often does that really work?
Maybe not. Maybe it had to be a perfect situation.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. Well, let me tell you, folks, it was a pounding, grinding crash last night with the World of Outlaws at Eldora, and that was a nasty one. And we're trying to give Austin enough time to cue it up and try to find a video of it. But let me tell you, he was lucky it only busted his balls, to be honest with you. I was sitting here just reading that, and I watched this last night, Pete, just so you know. The mayor of Port Royal, Dylan Chisney, oh, here it is. Let me see that again, Austin. Back that wreck up again.
Well, you're a little delayed if you're going to watch the Facebook stream.
Oh, okay, I'm watching. I'll watch it up here. Oh, my gosh, that is a big-time hit. Oh, my gosh. You notice he wasn't real quick to move around either. And when he got out, he was shaking his legs. We knew exactly what was wrong with him.
Well, I mean, it probably busted his kneecaps, too.
No doubt.
He probably runs – most of these Outlaw guys are small, and he's kind of about average height. So, most of these guys run knee guards, but still, I mean, you got a little bit of foam, and then it's aluminum on the backside or carbon fiber, and it
only
doesn't
takes
move.
a little bit of the hit.
It doesn't move very much, but if you get a tall guy in there, most times they don't only run a left side and don't run a right side, and you guard, and you will blow your kneecaps out.
Yeah.
It does not feel good.
So last night, I did watch that IRA race last night at Dodge County Fairgrounds in Beaver Dam last night, Pete, just so you know. I kind of watched that race as well. That was some pretty good stuff there that was going on there last night. So, let's see here. Marie says, hope you get to check out Martinsville. My friend, 14-year-old daughter Katie, makes her debut today. I'm so excited for her. I've got that link that you sent me, Marie, about her, and I'm going to pay attention to her and see how she does. So we're really close here. I think we just about got Lee Spencer on the – no? Can't get a hold of her.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to voicemail, which is strange. I'm wondering maybe if something she might, I don't know, maybe something has happened to her phone.
All right,
or
well, let's do this.
Yeah, we'll play one of these interviews.
Let's just play one of these interviews. Let's do the Trenton Berry right now. All right? Is that okay? All right, let's do that. Let's play this. This is an interview that I did with Trenton Berry talking about the Fall Jamboree up at Deer Creek, and this is the conversation I had with Trenton Berry from RacingDirt.com. I know that you like to watch late models as well, and I don't mean to get off of the USMTFs.
No,
yeah,
no, I love late models. Speak correctly here.
Yeah, well, let me just say that we talk a lot of late model racing right here on this show, and the late model world is the most blessed form of racing right now in dirt track racing. Wouldn't you agree with the late model racing, the way it's paying all these races? Tim McCready, he just picked up $40,000. Superman, Jonathan Davenport, he's won nearly $2 million this year. It's crazy the amount of money that's in late models right now, isn't it?
No, there's no question. Late models are king right now in dirt track racing,
right.
And I don't know that anybody ever envisioned a time that it was, because for a while that it wasn't. You know, they were second to open wheel racing, but they have firmly supplanted themselves as number one. Huge crowds, purses, interest, personalities. You know, that's one of the big things, right? I go deal with a ton of these promoters, Scott, and you know, they say, well, man, we need to. This is more than a race. This is an event. We need to spice this up and let's figure something out. I said, well, a couple things. Is Tyler Erb signing in tonight?
Right.
Well, no. This is a USMTS race. I said, well, could we get Tyler Erb and maybe any of his rivals to sign in here tonight? Is that possible? No. Okay. Boy, you know, going down my quick list here. So we don't have quite any of those personalities. So what is it exactly again you want me to do here? I'm not exactly sure. So that's a long way around telling you that they are also fortunate that they have, without question, the most diverse group of personalities that are not afraid, that do not mince words, and that are absolutely okay with you sticking a mic in their mouth really at about any moment.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when it comes to putting these races online, it doesn't matter if I go make 75 Facebook posts for a race. There is nothing that does more than some driver that gets the attention of the audience that you can go use to promote. It is the single biggest thing that you can do to go drive interest, is personalities.
It is. And, you know, I've said this, and no disrespect to any of my friends over on the Lucas Oil ASCS side of things, but the thing that they're lacking right now is star power a little bit. They need.
And I don't even know, like over the years, you know, we've been able to kind of cultivate some star power out of our ranks, but
right.
It's not that. It's that you have to. That microphone has to be viewed as a tool to increase your brand, and the racers need to embrace that as their opportunity to let people know about them. And you know, so here's what's crazy, Scott. I do these race day Q&As.
Yep.
With these racers, we've done them all season long. They're all on our Facebook page. They're anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour, depending on what the day brings, and how if they need to go work on their race cars, or if we got stuff we got to work on. Anyway, I sit down and carve out. We got a great crew that oversees the setup of this thing, and I don't have to do quite as much of that. I don't have to be quite as involved, so I can focus a little more on some of this content. And what I will tell you is it is when you can take that racer away from their pit, away from where their crews and everybody else are looking at them, and you can go set them down for 15 minutes away from all that chaos that's in their world when they're at the racetrack, is night and day the difference in content that you can get it. And these segments for what we do have bared that out this year. I've had guys that, dude, I couldn't stand at the back of their trailer and get 2 minutes out of them. I could literally ask them everything under the sun I can think of. And listen, I'm no different or better than anybody else. But I can go interview a race car driver. That's not something that I don't struggle with that.
Right.
But I can go take them, and we can shift the environment and change the setting, and it's not real difficult to go get 20 minutes out of them. And I don't understand. I need more. Here's what I do struggle with. I need more of that 20-minute mentality when I got 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm struggling with how to do that, because a lot of these people have personality. It's sometimes hard to pull that out of them.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like pulling teeth sometimes with some of these drivers.
It is.
Yeah.
And then you get people like Turbo that are just naturals,
Right.
Like I might only see Turbo 3 or 4 times a year, but dude, I can catch up. I can catch up and be up to speed immediately. And hey, you want to do a quick interview? And he'll give me something in 30 seconds. It's like, dude, that's incredible.
Yeah. All right. That was from earlier in the week with Trenton Berry from RacingDirt.com. You can watch the Fall Jamboree on Racing Dirt if you want to watch a lot of sheet metal, man. Listen, Racing Dirt does a great job with their broadcast. So just check them out. You can find the Fall Jamboree on there. It's going to be a good one. So check it out tonight as well. Who won up there last night? Caden Carter.
Caden Carter, he did.
Yeah. He picked up the win, 40-lap race. Jake O'Neill made it interesting at the end of that race, though. Did you see the end of that race there, Austin?
I did not. It was. Am I surprised that Jake O'Neill was up there? No. Jake's been. If anybody gets to go back and listen to the full interview with Trenton, you'll get to catch a part about us talking about Jake and his success and what we think makes him so good, and that was shown last night. But it was really cool to see Caden Carter win. So my family got to know the Carter family just a little bit back when we ran a karting series about 2014, 2013 time frame. We have a good mutual friend in the DeYoung family. So it's they came from karts and moved up and been racing modifieds for probably 10 or so years now, and they've been really successful up in the state of Iowa. So it was cool to finally see them. I think they've won maybe a couple of USMTS races so far, but to see them pick up a win on that stage is cool and just shows how much talent Caden Carter has and his brother does.
Yeah.
Too.
So they decided to go modified racing and late model racing, and you decided to go sprint car racing. Have you spoke to Caden lately?
I never got to really
get to know him.
I don't really get to know him. Yes, I just my parents are
in passing.
Yeah. With them, but yeah. So we had a couple of us. That was kind of funny. You say that. I look back and a friend of mine that I raced sprint cars with. I raced on our touring series, and him and I went the sprint car route, and a couple of them went modified route, and a couple just haven't really done much for the karting. They kind of put racing to a side. But yeah, it's funny you say that. It's cool to go back and look,
think about the guys you raced with.
And see where they're at today and see the different paths that you went down.
Right. You think Jake O'Neill, the reason he's so good is because he runs a late model and he kind of gets the mechanical side of things on the late model side of things, and he brings that translation over to the modified? You think that happens a little bit?
A USMTS/USRA modified is a late model without fenders.
That's all it is, isn't it?
I mean, that's what it comes down to be. Some of the technology that they're doing, on these cars are adopted from the late model right now, or from the late model racing, right now with, I don't know if they're smashing springs yet, but, smashing springs and doing stuff with like light springs and weird shocks, and it was just way above from what I know. I was only kind of exposed to it for a couple of months when I ran a modified this year.
When you say smash a spring, you mean coil bind a spring?
Yeah. So what a late model from, I might be wrong on this, but I'm going to try and get it to you guys the best I can. But what they're doing is they have a machine that smashes a spring, and they're looking for like a certain like number, like a reading when you smash these springs. And what they do is they put a spring, let's say a heavier spring on the bottom that's kind of short, and put like a packer in the middle of it, and put a lighter spring on top. So like the right, especially on the right front. So like the car goes down really fast.
When you say packer, like a rubber
like a
insert.
Rubber, right. That just separates like the two springs.
Right.
And so like what it does is, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but like it just makes the right front kind of go down easy, and then it loads the rest of the right front. I guess I probably said that really wrong, and if any late model guy hears that, they'll probably laugh at me. But that's kind of out of my element. But I know they're doing tricked up stuff with that, and the droop and chains, and too much for a sprint car guy to try to understand.
Try to get your head around, right? Yeah, no doubt. When we raced ARCA cars, that's what we did. We would coil bind the front springs. We'd put a 500 in the right front and a 450 in the left front, and we'd buy the biggest sway bar that we could get, like a 2.5-inch sway bar, and that's what held the car up, and that's what drove the car. And then we would put 1,000. Check this out. Can you imagine this, Austin? We'd put 1,000-pound right rear spring in it.
Well,
you'd coil bind the front, put a big old giant spring in the right rear, and hope for the best.
So you'll laugh at this. I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but maybe, I don't know.
That's all right.
You can decide that.
It doesn't matter.
So I think you were mentioning this a little bit earlier, and I think I was doing something with Todd here that. Today is the big, I think it's the Credit Union 300 at Martinsville for the late model stocks.
Yep.
So I'm actually going to go watch that when we leave here. And tomorrow on iRacing, they're having the sim version of that race. So all week I've been, testing. I've made over 750 laps at Martinsville this week, trying to prepare for this race tomorrow night. And I think so far I'm the fastest car in my region.
Really?
So the Americas sportsman region. So I'm the fastest car.
Just like your daddy.
I guess. I never ran on pavement in real life, but I can lay down a lap on the sim. But so I'm big into telemetry. So iRacing, you can pull. It's called Motec. It's a program that reads telemetry, and you can see what your ride heights are doing throughout the lap, what your shocks are doing, how much of the compression and the rebound you're using on the shock, and your splitter angle and your optimal engine power. You can deep dive into this thing and get lost in it. But we built this setup, and it's got us really fast. And I think we have like a 300 or 200 pound, 150 pound spring in the left front, and a 1,000-pound spring in the right front.
Right.
I mean, and like a 600 in the right rear and a 300 in the left rear, and our shocks, like our right rear shock, is like, I think it's a full soft, like. On the bump and open rebound, and it's a tricked out setup. But when you mentioned that you had some crazy bar and sway or shock or spring and sway bar combination, I thought of my sim setup. But that's just the advantage you get of, I guess, seeing what your ride heights are doing. Because we had an issue with the right front was getting into the track, the splitter was. So I was just trying to get the car higher up in the air.
Yeah.
To get the splitter on the track.
So did you put a rubber in?
No, I just put a 1,000-pound spring. I increased the spring rate by 400 pounds and cranked up the ride height and all that, and got the car up out of the track. But It's just crazy, when you can finally see like data what the car is doing throughout the corner, the changes that you can make, and see it actually pay off.
Did it change the car much?
Yeah, I picked up about 2.5 tenths.
Oh, how about that?
So
yeah. Pete wanted to chime in. He said victory 109 for Lance DeWeese at Williams Grove last night after Danny Dietrich shreds a left rear while leading. Danny drove like a madman to get back to third. I kind of like Double D. For some reason, I gravitate towards the guys that are not the most liked people. Why is that, Austin?
You want me to say why?
Yeah. Say the truth,
Well,
bud.
it's probably
because I'm not the most well-liked person.
It's the closest to your personality.
Well, maybe that's it.
I mean,
that could be
you
part
would
of
agree
it.
with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't a nice guy when I raced.
Okay.
I wasn't.
At least I'm right.
Yeah. You were right. You're on the money. I wasn't much. I wasn't a very pleasant guy to race against. Just ask anybody. But those days are behind me now. Did you see where I posted up that I'm looking for an E-Mod? Did you see that?
I seen that.
What do you think about that idea? You think I should stay right here behind a microphone?
What made you decide to do this? That's all I want to know.
Because I feel like I can still win.
Okay.
Whenever I go out with Blake Hahn and his buddies and we go go-kart racing, and they're all sprint car drivers, quarter midget or micro drivers, whatever. There's a group of us, about 10 or 12 of us, right? Some are sprint car drivers. Out of the 10 or 12 people that usually go, I'm the top 4 fastest. And I'm usually behind Dalton, Blake, and Yogi. Yeah. Those are the guys. Those are the only guys that beat me. So, and I beat all those other guys, and I spot them 100 pounds. How's that happen?
I don't know. We do have a K1 coming to Kansas City. Did you see that?
Where's that going to be?
Lee Summit. So we'll have us a K1 indoor speed karting facility next summer.
Will they have leagues?
Yeah, you can make a league.
Maybe we'll start a league, a Racing Boys league.
Oh, boy.
How about that? Would you come over and race?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. All right. We never did get a hold of Lee Spencer, huh?
Strange. It went to voicemail. I hope everything's okay. I mean,
yeah.
Because normally, even if she goes in, she keeps it on where it'll go and ring. It just went straight to voicemail. I talked to her 3 times, so let's just hope everything's okay out there, and we'll probably get her right back on next week.
I'm surprised she hasn't called.
Yeah, that's the, and like I said, I texted her back on my personal phone as well, and normally she'll text me right back if there's if she's having an issue or something. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully everything's good to go, but. If not, we've still got another interview we can play, and then we can.
Should we do that now? Should we do the Steve Post now?
Might as well. Steve's a good guy.
You want to do it?
Steve Post.
All right. Well, listen, Steve Post joins us every Wednesday on Mostly Motorsports. And his appearance is brought to you by Sage Fruit. And we want to thank Sage Fruit for allowing Steve to come over here and be a part of our show each and every week. He's a great addition to our show. He knows everything that's going on in the Cup level and wing sprint car racing. This is my conversation with Steve Post this last Wednesday on Mostly Motorsports. Let's switch it up over to NASCAR, man. That was I felt really good for Chris Buescher to win that race the other day. How about you?
Yeah, the whole Roush-Fenway Keselowski merger or Brad buying into the thing has been fascinating. And I think what's come out of this, I think a lot has come out of it. I think a team that is maybe historically wasn't quite as forward-thinking is a very forward-thinking team right now. I think that's how Brad is.
Right.
I think that's big, touchy-feely, important stuff as far as that goes. but I think I think a lot of us assumed that Chris Buescher was a really good racer. We assumed he could get the job done. He had one win at Pocono. It was a rain-shortened race.
Right.
And, those are always weird when you have those. Those are I don't understand those not counting as much because you put yourself in a spot and you won the race. And so Chris had that win. And sometimes that's almost like a negative thing that happens to a driver.
It is. Yeah.
But what we've seen this year, and it started at Daytona. Chris won one of the dual races along with his team owner Brad, and we've seen this team, have moments of really, really good, and then other moments where they've struggled. I think while it's not a new team, it's the new team blues. I think Chris really has stepped up and shown himself to be a top flight world class road racer, and darn near won the Sonoma race. And so I think it's validation. I think there's a lot of us that thought he was a good racer. I think a lot of us now that know he's a really, really good racer. And my feeling on it is it was great. You got to get that first win with the team. You got to get that second career win.
Right.
My hunch on this one is that we're going to see Chris Buescher winning more races as we move forward. Maybe not this year. It's so tough. It's so topsy-turvy this year. But I think it was a big night for him to kind of step into his own. Brad Keselowski, you can't ask Brad about the team without him migrating to how good Chris Buescher is, how such a rock-solid teammate he is, how patient he is as they build the program. And he was rewarded on Saturday night with a win in one of the, it's not considered a crown jewel. It's not the Daytona 500, the World 600, or the Coca-Cola 600, or the Southern 500. But I'm telling you what, a trophy from the night race at Bristol is very coveted, and Chris Buescher's got himself one.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought Brad was going to get it right there in the mix of things there towards the end of that race, but I think he had a flat, didn't he?
Yeah, so did he. Brad had a tire go down, and he ended up going to Victory Lane as the team owner. But I thought the same thing too. Brad is such a talent. He's and when you put him in a spot where he's got the upper hand on people, he is not going to relinquish it. And a tire goes down, there's nothing you can do at that point. You relinquish it. That's out of your control. He's good at doing everything in his control. That's the nice part about this win to me. We went through this last year. Remember when Kyle Larson won all those races?
Yep.
And then he goes to Pocono and he cuts a tire down on the last lap, and Alex Bowman wins the race. And it's like, well, Hendrick Motorsports is still happy. That is a really good sign for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, in that when your first car has a problem on what looks like on the way to the win, your next car in line mans up and goes and wins the races. I just think that's a huge statement for the team, and I'm with you. I thought the listening to that race on the radio, I was coming back from Lonesome Pine Raceway up in Virginia. I did a pay-per-view deal up there, and coming back from listening on the radio, I thought, boy, this is going to be cool to see Brad win this race, and 45 minutes later, it was Brad in Victory Lane with Chris Buescher winning it.
Yeah. There you have it. It's my conversation with Steve Post every Wednesday on Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to that every day at 12 noon Central Time. We go on at lunchtime, and it's me and Austin. Kirk sits in with us from time to time. But your thoughts on Chris Buescher winning that race? It was good to see him win, wasn't it? Austin?
It was, yes. My button wasn't wanting to work with me here, and
it
was really good. I had some bets in on that race, and so buddy of mine, Chris, and I, we sat down and watched like 375 laps of that race. And if you would have told me that we would have walked out of there with an RFK car winning that race, I probably would have told you were crazy. It would not have
Brad
taken...
looked pretty good as well,
He
though.
was good early on in that race. And, I think it was when it was Saturday race. Yeah, they qualified on Friday night, and I was getting, dinner in town, and I looked down on Twitter, and someone made the comment that the Fords are fast, and we saw that with the front row being locked out by Fords, and then we saw that, in the race translate to one of Ford winning the race, and RFK being fast, and a couple of their affiliate cars, having some decent speed. And I didn't think, that they really had it in them, I guess, heading into that race. I guess I just kind of overlooked them. And you look at, I made a sheet up to kind of help our betting situation of the drivers, top 10, or I take it back, their average finish in their career at every track.
Right.
And, Buescher's average finisher wasn't that impressive. To even put a bet on him, we were kind of skeptical of doing that. And I guess, with the new next-gen car and the uncertainty of what we're going to see at each track, and this being the first race on the concrete at Bristol, I think anything was up to grabs, and we didn't really know what to expect, and anything was possible. So, and we saw that, and it's just it's going to really make I guess people that are looking at bets or whatever, like, second guess maybe their decision. Maybe in years past we wouldn't have seen that. But with the new combinations that we have now, I mean, anything, like I said, is possible, and everybody's going to have a shot at winning.
Yeah. You know what I like? One thing I like Kevin Harvick kind of calling out NASCAR from time to time. He's been pretty vocal about this car for the last couple weeks, hasn't he?
Did you see his T-shirt he's got now?
What did it say?
Happy Harvick's crappy parts or something like that, and it's basically just talk about how
a picture of the car.
It's a T-shirt that he had made, and it's like a parts T-shirt, like it's a company selling junky parts. Happy Harvick's junky parts or something like that.
Oh boy!
I mean, if someone even the casual NASCAR fan has been getting enough, like, it's been on other people, the other radars other than just NASCAR stuff, because I've seen it even on a couple ESPN stuff, Kevin Harvick's comments on there. So I don't know where this will go with that. He's a senior driver, obviously, so he's able to kind of just feel and say what he wants, and he doesn't feel like he has any ramifications as far as having to worry about anything. But he talks, Junior talked about these guys can fix these parts. They know what needs to be done, but they're not allowed to do any modifications to any of these parts, so... Yeah. That's where we're at, at this point. So I'm like you, Scott. The
cars are too rigid. Drivers are afraid they're going to get hurt.
They are.
That's what they're worried about right now.
And you're going to have younger the guys that have, like you said before, Scott, the guys that haven't hit the wall yet, haven't been that guy that took that big shot yet in this car. They're the ones that are going to be pushing it. Whereas some of these other guys, they're not. I've already heard the conversation is, look, man, it ain't worth it to take a shot like that this early in the race. I mean, the car might make it through it, but is it worth it on your body? These guys are talking about these cars are bouncing back, but their physical toll on themselves, it's tough. So,
hey, Pete, did you notice I just turned on USA Network? Did you notice that? I've got it on right now, right behind us. How about that? There we go. I normally don't take that TV off of MAV TV. That TV is locked on MAV TV all the time.
So,
yeah.
Let me get my level turned back up here. So Todd brought up a good point about, the young drivers, not having
smash the wall hard.
Yeah, not having the repercussions of or effects of crashing this car. So I'm a big listener of Dale Jr.'s podcast and his download. And Door Bumper Clear, which is under the Dirty Mo Media banner, but it's the spotters for like Brett Keselowski, TJ Majors, Brett Griffin for Colleague Racing, and then Freddie Kraft for Bubba Wallace. And then he has Casey Boat, is Chad Boat's wife, is the producer on it, or the host. And those three guys get to have or give us a good insight of what it's like to be like hands-on with these cars. Junior doesn't really talk about it a whole lot. But they had Noah Gragson on, I think it might have been 2 weeks ago after Kansas. And they were talking about, what it's like for him to come out of the Xfinity Series and run this next-gen car. And he made the comment that, after having a couple of hard hits at Atlanta and Daytona, that on these restarts or any time when you have the chance of crashing is high, he's taking a step out of being in that mix, I guess. And is being really cautious around cars just because, he has a shot at winning a nationwide or Xfinity Series championship this year. And these crashes and impacts are so brutal that he doesn't want to take a chance of getting himself hurt and have a chance of jeopardizing his shot at a championship. So yes, it's the crashing these cars and them being really rigid and stiff is definitely present in a driver's mind right now.
Well, let me tell you, I've hit the wall at 180 mile an hour before. It's not much fun.
No, and like you look at, I think somebody had the hood up on one of these cars at one of these past races, and you know the main like cage is round tube, which has always been the same, but like with the clips, with them being bolt-on, they're all like square tube. And you don't really see a lot of cars having square tube frames, you know.
Right.
So
that's kind of a thing of the past.
It is, and you know, square tube doesn't
rigid.
It is very rigid, and it doesn't work like, you know, a round tube car does, and you know the way it bends. I mean, you can try and bend square tube, but you gotta, you know, cut, notch it, and weld it back together if you want to bend. So
right.
It
takes some time.
If these cars were maybe round tube clipped, but bolt on, maybe this story is different.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you know, probably the worst wreck I've ever had was probably at West Memphis Motorsports Park. 3/4 mile racetrack. I was running a super truck race there. And a guy that I raced with at I-70 Speedway, we'll leave nameless, hooked me in the left rear quarter panel going down the straightaway, right at the end of the straightaway, and I pounded the wall with the driver's side of the truck. And were you with us then, Todd?
Nope, I was right. That was
before you came on board.
Literally.
Right? Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
Let me tell you something. At the time, I was 49 years old. And when I was sitting in that ambulance trying to get my shit together.
You're thinking, man.
I'm thinking to me, I'm getting a little too old for this stuff.
Yeah, this ding.
And now, look, I'm trying 12
trying
years.
To get back in.
I haven't been in a race car in 12 years, and now I want to race.
Trying to jump back in.
What's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that?
That's funny. Hey, Happy Harvick's crappy ass parts for less, Bakersfield, California. So.
Oh, is that the shirt?
If that ain't and he's actually selling those shirts. That ain't just something.
I want one of them.
Is that not? And the 4, you see the 4 because he's number 4.
Do they have it in black? Because I got to be slimming.
You can pick it up in any color. So.
Any color.
That's pretty cool.
I'm going to order one of those up.
I like that.
I like that. How about you, Austin? You like that shirt?
That's funny. They mentioned that on Door Bumper Clear last week, and I've been meaning to look it up. And yes, that's funny. And finally, we're getting drivers to speak up about this deal, and who's none better than Kevin Harvick or anybody that's been in the Cup Series for quite some time. You know, Kyle Busch. Let's see who else has been here. Maybe Denny Hamlin, Truex. I mean, Truex was on him hard after Bristol. So, yeah, finally taking jabs back at NASCAR. Always good to see.
There's one thing that runs off our listeners more than anything. What is it?
NASCAR talk.
It's NASCAR.
Right? I think, yeah, but whenever
some people are interested in
that,
it,
but
right?
whenever we start bashing on them, I think everybody likes to bash on NASCAR, right?
Right, I guess, maybe. The sprint car fans do.
Yeah.
So is Warrensburg racing tonight, or did they have their season ending last week? Does anybody know?
Todd's going to.
Let me look it up. CMS Speedway.
I think they should be done.
I thought they were.
What's the schedule look like, Todd?
One more, let's see. Today, one more event. Barbecue celebration, recognizing 10 drivers.
All right, let's talk a little CMS.
Yeah,
give Earl a little love down there.
Yeah, one more event remains on the schedule. It's our end of season barbecue celebration, recognizing the top 10 drivers in each of our 4 weekly race divisions, which includes B mods, super stocks, pure stocks, and Midwest mods. So September 24th.
So tonight's the final night.
Yeah, this is actually going to be. It's not at the track, so this is just a celebration. So so they are done with actual. So tonight at Pub 13, dinner at 6, live entertainment from 8 to 12, featuring Mark Duty and the Cause. So there you go.
So they're going to have some music down there, huh? $10 per person. How about that? You know, you got to give it to Earl. At least he tries to do it right. You know what I mean? You can say what you want about Earl, but Earl's not a bad man, to be honest with you. He just likes to bark a little bit, kind of like me. And I don't hold that against him at all. MWRA is going to be at Valley Speedway this weekend, right, Austin? Is that right?
Try this again. Yeah.
We're going to have to do something with that button, aren't we?
No, actually the cord came unplugged.
The cord come unplugged. All right.
No, let's try this again. I believe it's the Hell Memorial, and it should be, is it the last race there, Todd? Todd has the schedule pulled up I'm looking at, for MWRA. So it should have, I think it might be one of the only nomming races kind of going on in this area. So it should have a decent field tonight, and hopefully they put on a pretty good show down there.
Well, you know, I would love to go out there tonight. My gosh, there's so much on TV, right? It's hard to pull yourself away from these TVs.
So it looks like pits will open at 3 o'clock, front gate at 5, hot laps at 5:30, heat races at 6, adults $20, seniors ticket, military 18, 6 to 12, $6. Pit pass is $40. So Valley Speedway up and rolling.
All right. Well, that ought to be good. What do you think?
It's called the Colonel Johnny Hell Memorial Race.
Right.
Sorry about that.
No doubt. That track should be a little tacky tonight. Yeah. Wouldn't you think?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get it juiced up for the sprint car guys.
And I've said this before about Valley Speedway. As much as I don't like the surroundings of the racetrack itself. And Austin, am I going too far out of bounds? I want you to reel me in if I am. But Valley Speedway, out of all the racetracks in the Kansas City area, it might put on the best races of them all. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's one of the
right
tracks.
there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, when Lakeside's done right, Lakeside's good. Valley's good. Lucas Oil's good sometimes. Let me think of what else is around here. I-70's getting better. So yeah, I mean, I think it's in the area. It's good. I might be forgetting a track or two, but yeah, I thought you were going to take that a different route, and I was I was getting myself prepared for that. But yeah, I think when Valley's had an issue this year with it taking rubber for the sprint cars.
Has it?
Yeah, I remember. I'm friends with the Wagners that run, majority of the races down there at Valley with their 2 non-wing cars, and I always think I remember them having or sending me pictures of their tires and having issues with the take rubber. Maybe that was just for one event here a while back, but usually it's pretty good. Hopefully they get it. Some of this rain that came in, hopefully with it being 86 degrees today as a high, hopefully that doesn't take some of the moisture that's already in the ground out of it, and hopefully they can keep enough in it without overwatering it too much. But I'd rather have an overwater sprint car track than an underwater track.
Just so you know, when I go to the MWRA Sprint Fans page, there's a little bit too much J.D. Lawson on there for me. Just so you know. About every picture I've looked at is a picture of their car. Just so you know.
Who runs the page?
Well, it's probably J.D. Lawson.
Okay, there's your answer.
And his show is called The High Side. Not much of that. I wouldn't use that name, The High Side. Anyway, there's a lot of pictures of their cars on there. So just so you know, it's not really a fan page. It's more of a self-promotion page. That's kind of what it boils down to. Mine asshole.
No, I'll just stay out of that. that's something I'll let you take off and run with. I know you're really passionate about that conversation.
Well, when somebody who we have mentioned their name probably more than we should have,
yes,
gets on the internet and lies about you and your partner, there's a reason why I go out of my way to kick him in the balls. Just so you know. When a person lies and says that we're going around the country and we're stealing from promoters and that we don't pay the promoters, listen, I've paid more promoters. I've paid, just so you know, Kirk Elliott and I, have paid promoters millions. So get your head out of your butt and do your facts. That's all I'm saying. Because that's what we've done. We've paid out millions of dollars to promoters. So you know. So anyway, I get a little bent up when people talk shit on us. That's all. You know.
I understand.
And I've been, Todd, I've been consistent on this, haven't I?
Pretty consistent across the board.
Yeah.
I would say that. Hey, there's a big car show today going on right now at Piper High School. If you want to go out and watch a good car show, I know there's a couple of local race car drivers taking a couple of their hot rod cars out there this morning. Darren Kling's trying to get his car out there, and
right.
So they're having a silent auction inside as well. And I've got some of my photos, and I've got quite a bit of stuff in there up for auction for the school too. So
cool.
If you ever wanted some of Todd Surprise's own
personal photos,
I've got some pretty good stuff up for auction this week.
You know, Ken said it best. He said when they actually get moisture down in the track, Valley is the best in the area.
When we used to go to Valley the first couple
of years.
Man,
I love the racing there.
Yeah, we used to cut.
I just don't want to sit too close to the fence.
Yeah, when we used to cover, we were there quite a bit. We used to do the TV show. Remember, we were there every week, doing
we
stuff.
went out there quite a bit, yeah.
And I had never been to Valley up until I worked with you guys. I'd been to the what do you call it, the motocross stuff one time when I was young, but I had never been to an actual race. And I thought the racing was always pretty good when I went, not knowing anything previous, going into this thing as unknown at this thing. I always thought it was a pretty good racetrack. Like I said, I mean, it seemed like it was always really good racing there, and I always enjoyed it out there. So yeah, it always seemed to be pretty fun. I'm sure they'll have a good time out there tonight. Boy, it'll be sticky and ready to roll.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Pete said tonight, Selinsgrove 40th National Open for 410 sprint cars tonight. $26,000 to win. Austin, is that going to be on Flow? Are they going to show that on Flow? They don't show Selinsgrove on Flow, do they? Just Williamsgrove.
No.
Williamsgrove is on Dirt Vision, isn't it?
Yeah, Williamsgrove's on Dirt Vision, and I think Selinsgrove might be on Jeremy Elliott's Sprint Car Unlimited website.
Oh.
I made a comment earlier this week that I was pretty sure that Anthony Macri was going to drive a team car to Cody Swanson in the Silver Crown Series at Eldora today, or this weekend, actually. And I guess my information was wrong. With Selinsgrove having a $26,000 to win 410 race in kind of his backyard, I mean, it would make sense for him to stay up there and go run that race. And the post that I saw claiming that he was going to drive the Silver Crown car was a post of the car, and it had a seat in there, and it made the comment of the seat being in concrete, or asking who the driver would, or asking fans who the driver would be, and giving the hint of the seat would be in concrete. So I just put two and two together that Anthony would be in that car for that weekend, and I was wrong. So a lot of guys finally are getting to the end of the month of money, and $26,000 to win today. We have the $75,000 to win National Open next week, and I think that might be one of the last races, in Pennsylvania for the month of money here in 2022.
Marisa, the Grove is on Dirt Vision every week, and BAPS, no Flow or Dirt Vision. Why is that, Marie? Maybe we need to get all of our fans out there in the PA area, New Jersey area, Ohio area, and start sending requests to Flow or Dirt Vision saying, we want BAPS on television. I mean, if people don't know, they need requests, right? I think that would be a great addition to either Dirt Vision or Flow. Don't you think BAPS would be, Austin? I'd like to watch it every week.
You know, I haven't really watched a lot of races at BAPS.
Yeah.
I've seen a handful from highlights, and it puts on, pretty good racing. We just there's so many races to watch anyways on a Saturday night. I mean,
is it good for racing or bad for racing?
It's good. I almost think it's like a double-edged sword sometimes. It can help you, but it can hurt you, I think. I definitely think it can help you in promoting. We always talk about it, and we always use the example of Huset's. Everybody, I think, in the studio wants to go to Huset's, and everybody watches Huset's on Sunday night. I think it can really increase your audience or your interest of your facility, across the nation.
It can create awareness to your racetrack,
It can create a lot of buzz. If your track, let's say it's a track, let's say in California, Oregon, and it is putting on some really good sprint car racing, and people from the Midwest or on the East Coast that who normally would probably see that can see it live.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now you're creating some hype and some buzz behind your facility and your track, and it would bring a bigger reach than just your little local community. So and tracks can really use that to their advantage, but sometimes it can hurt you. I think if the real race fans, if you have a big event in your area, they'll go. Like, we'll have the World of Outlaws coming to Kansas City here, I think in 2 or 3 weeks. Actually, I think 3 weeks now, and everybody will go to that race.
Hey,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Todd, look up Valley Speedway and see if they've canceled their show for tonight, would you? Go ahead.
Lost my train of thought there.
I'm sorry, buddy.
You're all good.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. But promoters might think, well, if we have a race here and they can watch it at home, they'll just stay home. But I guess your real race fan will always go to the races if it's possible. But or you have a night where you have threat of rain, everybody will just stay at home and watch it. That might hurt you a little bit, maybe on ticket sales. But
right.
I mean, I think it's for the better if it's done right.
Well, it's tough tonight because you got the Fall Jamboree on, you've got Eldora on, and man, it's hard to walk away from those races, right?
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean,
I always could go back and watch them tomorrow.
Yeah,
right?
Well, now you have a situation of you have so many different races here. Let's say at the studio. Now you're not going to go to anything local, or any maybe other events around here. But you can always go to the races and watch it on your phone too. But who really wants to do that? But yeah, I mean, I think it's sometimes it's like I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It can hurt you and it can help you. And that's a situation you just mentioned that might hurt. Maybe some local races that fans are at that. Oh, we'll just stay home and watch Four Crown. We'll just stay home and watch the Outlaw races or whatever going on. That pleases you.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it's all still up and going. I don't see no cancellation.
No cancellation at this point.
Facebook page still has a go, and their website has a link to everything, and on the news
looks like it's all a go.
So everything's a go today.
All right, man, that's good. Good. You know what? I might talk myself into going out there tonight and coming back and watching the replays. Because usually that's what we do anyway, isn't it, Austin? You and I sit here every morning and we watch replays of the races right before we go on there, don't we?
Yeah, we just do that to
freshen up.
I mean, watch. I'm gonna go watch a 200 lap late model stock race today, and I have plenty of stuff planned tomorrow to do. And if you came to me on Monday at noon to talk about it, I probably wouldn't remember everything unless I started writing down some key points or went back and watched the highlights at least. And if most of the time, for me at least, I can go back and watch the highlights and remember just about everything that happened in that race. So yeah, it's nice that we can have this stuff available at our fingertips sometimes.
Yep, no doubt. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in to today's show, Track Talk. We've been doing this show now for 2 hours for the last 22 years. Me and Kirk Elliott, I've been doing it for 24 years on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We started on 1510, and when we moved over to 810, the largest all-sports radio station in the country, that's when Kirk joined me. The first day I was on the air on 810, Kirk Elliott was with me, and it's been a pleasure to have him with me. It's gonna be a little different when Kirk's not here every Saturday. It's gonna be a little bit weird, isn't it, Todd?
It's strange right now. It's not sitting
right.
sitting right
It's
there
like
for
it's
Saturday.
like Kirk, where you at?
Yeah, he's supposed to.
Where's that goofy little smile that I get from you when I look at you?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or the wheel that he fed you. So.
But the one good thing about Kirk Elliott retiring is Kirk Elliott is going to be out, and he's going to be able to get all kinds of sound for us.
And
as
you
well.
know he's still going to be itching to do that. So.
And he's still going to come in and sit in the studio with us
That's
on
right.
Mostly Motorsports from time to time. So he's not going to be gone.
No, and he'll be like you said, calling in on Track Talk quite a bit. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right,
great stuff.
We're really going to miss him though. That's
Yes,
for sure.
That's why when I was at the I told my wife I was at the Kansas Speedway last week, and I went home, watched the first game and first quarter of I guess it'd be 2 weeks ago now. But I wanted to get back up to Kansas Speedway to hang out with Kirk Elliott because that was his last time there.
Yeah,
hanging out. So I hung out with Kirk in the press room, pit lane a little bit, on the victory lane out there, and
he's with us every day.
Every day. So
he comes in here, sets up his computer over there, and listens to the stream and watches the show.
Make sure
that's what he does every day.
Make sure everything goes smooth.
Yeah, that's what he does.
We appreciate everything he does, and appreciate all of our listeners out there, man. Nothing makes me happier when somebody comes on and says, "Man, I hear you guys on the radio. I hear you guys on the internet, and that's pretty cool stuff you guys are doing." So it's good stuff, man.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
We appreciate everybody that tunes in each and every day here on Track Talk, as well as Mostly Motorsports. We got a lot of great listeners from all around the country that listen to us, just all over the United States. Mostly Motorsports is kind of a national show, so we talk a lot about sprint car racing. We talk a lot about late model racing and just open wheel racing and late model racing. We talk some USMTS occasionally as well, so we hope that you'll join us Monday through Friday. It's at 12 noon Central Time. It's called Mostly Motorsports with myself and Austin O'Neill. Kirk Elliott sits in with us on Mondays and Fridays. It's always a good time whenever Kirk sits in with us. We appreciate him doing so. All right, well, that is it for today, folks. Thanks again for tuning in to Track Talk. It's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. For Austin O'Neill, for Todd Surprise, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you Monday, Mostly Motorsports, 12 noon Central Time, right here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com. We'll see you then.
Track Talk.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.